Hey, if you're thinking about having bariatric surgery, but you're on the fence and you're not sure if maybe you should try on your own just one more time, you're going to want to listen to this video. I'm going to tell you my story. I used to think that if I only had enough willpower, I could lose the weight, and I was wrong. So, my name is Sean. I have lost 140 pounds through bariatric surgery and weight loss medication. That's 88% of my excess weight. I got to tell my story earlier this year in this special edition of Time magazine. It was in the January through March 2025 issue. So if you're watching this, you're not going to find this on newsstands. But you can see my story here. I had bariatric surgery and I'm proud I did. And I am proud I did. And it was the right decision. It was a decision that I put off for a long time. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I have struggled with weight all my life. The first time I went to a dietitian, I was 7 years old, and my mother took me to a registered dietitian on a military base. And I'd been dieting ever since. And later in my career, I was the diet editor at Health Magazine. And at the time, I weighed between 225 and 235 pounds. And you would think that that would be like a really great position for me to, because I had access to all the books. Like people would send me their books before they came out so I could see all the new diet books. I interviewed the nation's best diet and weight experts, so I had access to professionals. I even had like a chance to work out with Bob Greene, who used to be Oprah's trainer, which was really cool. So I had access to lots of good information. I worked with dietitians, registered dietitians. I was in a test kitchen and like we were producing healthy recipes all the time. So you think I would have had the resources to do it. And plus, I'd been dieting all my life. And during my time at Health Magazine, one of my editors asked me to do a story on bariatric surgery. We ended up not running it, but I did all the research and I wrote it. And that was like maybe around 2006. So this was almost 20 years ago. And in the process of reporting on that story and talking to patients and surgeons and learning about all the different types of surgery that were available then, I thought to myself, if I ever get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, I'm going to do this because at that time there was, some research showing that bariatric surgery could help people with type 2 diabetes to control it or, possibly even put it into remission. So I told myself at the time, I'm going to keep trying on my own. Like I felt like if I just had enough willpower, if I just found the right diet, or if I could just keep all the balls in the air, right? Like if I could, like, sometimes you've probably done this, drop in the comment if you've ever done this. Like, you just feel like, if you might have a period where you're exercising on a regular basis and you're really nailing it, but it's hard to get the meal planning down, or you get the meal planning down and, it's hard to get the exercise and, or the hydration. And like, you feel like if you can just get all the balls in the air, then maybe you'll finally lose the weight and reach your goal. And I thought that was my problem. I thought if I just had enough willpower, if I could just figure out the secret to getting down the meal planning and exercising and drinking all my water and all the lifestyle habits that I was writing about in Health Magazine, that I would succeed at reaching my goal. I finally, and I tried everything. Like I tried all the diets. I tried Weight Watchers multiple times. I tried like meal planning diets, like where it was like a dry powdered meal mix and you had to mix it with water, and so I've tried everything. I tried working out with different trainers. I've spent a period where I walked like 4 days a week and I worked up to 5 miles and I lost 40 pounds. And then I had a physical setback and then I gained it all. So during this time, I like had these periods where I would lose weight and then something would happen and I'd regain and lose and regain. And there was just this yo-yo cycle that I was going through. And then so finally I went to a weight loss program at a university in Birmingham, Alabama. And I was working with some really good, weight loss specialists. and they put me on OptiFast, which is a liquid diet, and I lost 52 pounds. It was great. It was a 13-week liquid diet, and I did it. I stuck with it, and I lost like 50 pounds. And during that time, while I was in the program, I met an obesity medicine specialist, um, and he said some words to me that were like so chilling. I like didn't want to believe it. Like it was just so, I just couldn't believe that that could be true. He said, sometimes your body won't let you lose the weight. I couldn't believe that. Like I just could not accept that. Like for what I was doing, I eventually moved from Health Magazine to working on healthy cookbooks for brands like Cooking Light. Um, I just couldn't accept that that could be true. What I didn't understand at the time is that obesity is a chronic disease. Right at that time, that was like around 2012, the American Medical Association acknowledged that obesity is a chronic disease that requires medical care and that it is both relapsing and progressive. It is very complex. I didn't understand that. And I didn't understand what that doctor was trying to tell me when he said, sometimes your body won't let you. And that willpower isn't enough on its own. You need medical care. So years went by, and then I kept trying to do it on my own, trying to keep all the balls in the air. And finally, my weight crept up. So from 2007, fast forward to 10 years later, 10, 15 years later, I'd gone from 225 to 304 pounds, despite the fact that I was dieting and watching calories and cooking healthy meals from the very cookbooks that I edited, that I was exercising and working out with the trainers and walking. I gained all that weight. That's the progressive nature of the disease of obesity. And I needed medical help, and I didn't know it. By the time I weighed 304 pounds, my primary care physician diagnosed me with type 2 diabetes. And that's when I told myself, okay, this was the point that I told myself that after I researched that article on bariatric surgery, I promised myself that if I had ever been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, that I would get surgery. And then that day finally came. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And in fact, my primary care doctor said, I think you should explore bariatric surgery. I think you should think about it. And so that's what was finally the thing that made me make that decision. So I am sharing my story because now that I'm on this side, I've had my bariatric surgery. I started taking weight loss medication. My obesity medicine specialist had me start the weight loss medication. He wanted me to start 3 months after I had the bariatric surgery. I ended up starting 5 months because at the time there were shortages. But he wanted me to start because he told me that sometimes obesity can be such a complex disease that people need both surgery and medication. And I'll do a video about that later because I think that's something that a lot of people are confused about and don't know. But that's true. For some people, they need both. Just like, some other diseases like heart disease, you might need a bypass and then you might need to be taking, medications like beta blockers or statins or other medications to help control the heart disease. I finally got bariatric surgery, and then I started an obesity medication months later, and I've been able to lose 88% of my excess weight. In all the time, all those years, decades that I tried losing weight, I never could have accomplished this without medical help. I still need medical help because obesity is a chronic disease. There's no real cure. There's very effective treatments. We are living in an amazing time right now because there are so many effective treatments. Surgery is incredibly effective. Medications that are coming on the market are incredibly effective. And the fact that some people can have access to both of those treatments if they need them is amazing. We are living in an amazing time. So if you are thinking about having bariatric surgery, I'm not here to make your decision for you. Like, you need to make an informed choice. And I'm sharing my story to give you perspective so that you can look into some of the things that I've shared with you and explore what's right for you in an informed way. So talk to physicians, talk to an obesity medicine physician, talk to an endocrinologist, talk to a bariatric surgeon, and see what help is the best choice for you. But just know that willpower is not alone. This is a chronic disease. It involves over 300 different genes. There's hormones, there's brain chemistry, there are other diseases and conditions that stress impacts your weight. Your sleep impacts your weight, is a huge has a huge impact on your weight. So there are all these factors, and it's hard to manage on your own, and it's hard to stay ahead when your body is changing on you and it's not announcing to you that, hey, I'm going to change your metabolism, or hey, I've got these genes working against you. Your body doesn't do that. You need a specialist who can help you figure out what's going on. Bariatric surgery is incredibly effective, and part of it is because it helps cause metabolic changes that can work in your favor. So I want you to think about it and do some good research and talk to the professionals who really understand obesity, who can help you. Um, and I'm going to ask you to subscribe, because it's now my passion and my mission to help people like me get the health care that they need if they want it. And if you subscribe, YouTube's algorithm will share this message and put it in front of more people who might need to hear it. So I'm going to ask you to subscribe. And then if you are at the point of beginning to plan your bariatric surgery and you need some help, I offer one-on-one peer support calls. These are not medical calls. I'm not a medical professional. I'm someone who's been there, and I'm a health journalist, and I've also worked at a weight loss clinic. I'm now independent. And I help people who are like me, exploring their options. So what I can do is I can help you understand what the different procedures are so you can make an informed choice with your surgeon. I help you figure out what to do in case your insurance denies you, some of the ways that you can finance it if you're going to pay out of pocket, and just like be there. I know that sometimes when you're going through this, there's nobody in your world who really understands, and I can help you navigate all of that. So if you're interested in having a one-on-one support call and you feel like that might be helpful for you, look in the description. There's 2 tools there in the description that will help you. One is I put together a website called the Bariatric Surgery Explorer, and this will help you look at what the different procedures are. You can learn a little bit more about them, and then it also has a tool where you can compare the cost of different bariatric procedures, and you can compare costs across countries. So if you're thinking about having surgery in the United States or Mexico or Turkey, you can compare prices to see what might fit your budget and what you think you can do. And then the second thing is, if you look in the video description, you'll see a link to my Calendly, and you can book a one-on-one call. You can find a time that works for you. And then when you fill out the Calendly, let me know what things you want to focus the call on. We'll spend an hour together, and then after that hour, I'll send you a personalized email that'll be your roadmap to help you get on the road to having bariatric surgery if you want, and get on the road to better health. So thank you so much, and I wish you well. Take care.